news new at noon. This just in, a jury in Manhattan federal court has reached a verdict in the former President Trump civil defamation trial. Now, the jury says Mr. Trump must pay an additional $83.3 million to E. Jean Carroll for calling her sexual assault allegation back in 2019 a lie. The panel of 7 men and 2 women deliberated for approximately 2 hours and 45 minutes today. And during her closing argument, Carroll's attorney said the writer deserved at least $24 million in damages. Now, Mr. Trump was not in the courtroom for the verdict. We're going to have more on this story in later editions of Hawaii News Now.
And it has also been a busy week of news here on Oahu with a spike in violent crimes, and we have some updates to pass along to you. Honolulu police have made an arrest in the chemical attack at Ala Moana. They've also arrested a suspect who killed a man as a result of a stray bullet at his home in Waianae over the weekend. And HPD provided details into Thursday's deadly officer-involved shooting in Makaha. We'll have updates on these stories coming up in a few moments. But happening right now, we have a live press conference. Let's go ahead and listen in. This is a group fighting the second proposed wave pool here on Oahu. Let's take you there live.
The karst systems here. Injection wells, as stated, is not an environmental friendly use of water or waste water. We come here today to raise the awareness for the world to recognize that water is life, Iwi is sacred, and our Aina is living. And for that reason, we stand here to protect all that is sacred that may be desecrated by this development. We ask for your kokua, your kako'o, your mana to protect all that is sacred for our people. Mahalo ya oko.
Aloha, I'm Helani Sonora Pale. I am with the Oahu Water Protectors, and I'm also a member of Nakia'i Waiha. I stand here today in protection of this place, the sacred place. We are opposed, strongly opposed, to the building of another wave pool on this island. There is a wave pool less than a mile away from here. There is a surf spot a couple miles away from here, a famous surf spot here on the west side of the island. This wave pool that they want to build will be 5 acres large and will require 7 million gallons of fresh potable water.
Oh, way.
During a water crisis that was caused by the U.S. Navy Red Hill spills. There are burials.
And you're listening to a live press conference right now on this opposition to another wave pool. Again, they say it will further put a strain on our natural resources and will take away a 5-acre site to fragile habitats. Now, in a previous Hawaii News Now report, we learned developers plan to use injection wells to empty the 7 million gallon wave pool every other year, and the protesters worry that the chemicals in the pool will seep into the groundwater and nearby shorelines. Now, the project's co-founder, famed waterman Brian Keaulana, previously said he was disappointed by the protesters' misguided accusations. He also said they previously met with a number of Hawaiian cultural advisors and conducted extensive archaeological and environmental studies to ensure that they protect the site. We're going to have much more on this coming up on the evening news of Hawaii News Now.
And let's go ahead and give you now those updates that we mentioned of the arrests made by HPD.
29-year-old Sebastian Makwan was arrested at around 9 last night near the Ross on Nimitz Highway in Iwilei. A 25-year-old woman was critically injured in Tuesday night's attack, which happened as she walked next to the Planet Fitness at Ala Moana. We now know she is in the second year of an international exchange program and is a Chinese language teacher at Marinol.
I was a little devastated because, I knew her and I knew what kind of a person she is. It would be hard for a boyfriend to get mad with an individual like her. So friendly, smiling, courteous, very polite person, always wanting to help,
The Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii has organized a GoFundMe. The fund will go toward medical expenses, rehabilitation, and counseling. You can find the link on our website.
Yesterday, Honolulu police officers shot and killed a man out in Makaha. And yesterday evening, HPD's police chief, Joe Logan, addressed the media to provide some details on the early stages of their investigation. Our Ben Gutierrez filed this report.
The police chief says 2 officers told the man to get off Farrington Highway where traffic was moving around him, but he refused and pulled out a knife with a 2 or 3 inch blade. One officer tased the man and he fell to the ground.
The officers appeared to close the distance when the male got up and charged at the second officer, at which time the officer fired his weapon twice, striking the suspect in the chest.
But was the man still holding the knife? Logan says unreleased body cam video shows an object flying toward the second officer after the man is tased.
I think we believe that it was the knife that was thrown out of his hand at the officer. Whether he went to retrieve it or what the individual was doing, that we don't know.
These things can turn on a dime. They can turn on a second.
Former Deputy Chief John McCarthy says the officers are taught to react quickly and, when threatened, to use deadly force.
The officers receive a lot of in-classroom training, textbook training, and then they're taken out onto the field and run through scenarios to sort of give them the pressure of having to make these decisions.
The shooting comes on the same day police arrested Corin Farinas for a shooting on Saturday that killed an innocent bystander just 3 miles up the road. The community has also been rattled by drive-by shootings, including one last year that paralyzed Richiana de Guzman. There was also a teenager killed at Makaha Beach, a homeless man killed in Anakuli, a deadly shootout at the Waianae Harbor, and more.
I've never seen so much gun violence going on. It's just over and over.
Well, one thing, it hurts. I don't know why, but it hurts.
Blanca Larson says she believes the man shot by police today was homeless and may have been helping to push a car.
He's not like a regular homeless, I don't think. He always goes around and collect gangs.
The chief says he can't release more details of the shooting yet, but he's confident in his officers.
They're out there doing their best to deter crime. It's unfortunate we have individuals that, for one reason or another, decide to take matters in their own hand and behave in a manner that's not socially acceptable with everyone else.
Logan says the officers have 23 and 16 years of service with HPD and have been placed on standard administrative leave. Neither one was injured. Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
HPD is asking people in Halava to check their home surveillance systems to see if they captured a shooting on Tuesday. Police say a group of men were arguing at the Pu'uvai Momi housing complex on Kohomua Street at around 1:15 a.m. when one allegedly pulled a gun and opened fire. A 55-year-old man was seriously hurt.
Now, all of this criminal activity has underscored the lack of communication from Honolulu's police department to the media and the public. And now Honolulu's mayor is calling for that to be improved.
It deserves criticism because we're failing. We're failing in our communication efforts. And so as of this recording, I've yet to resolve that with our chief of police, but I fully intend to do so. It's unacceptable to me in a very big way. They don't get to be a separate country. They don't get to make up their own rules. There are fundamentals that they're really required to do and they're not doing.
His comments come after criticism of the city after the public received little to no warning from police when a fugitive led officers on an island-wide manhunt on New Year's Day.
Alabama has carried out a first-of-its-kind execution, shining a spotlight on capital punishment in the U.S. Convicted killer Kenneth Eugene Smith was put to death Thursday night after breathing nitrogen gas through a face mask to cause oxygen deprivation. Smith was one of 2 men convicted in the 1988 murder-for-hire slaying of Elizabeth Sennett. Witnesses to the execution included Smith's family members and friends, as well as members of the media.
The nitrogen gas was administered. His body began to shake for about 2 minutes, followed by heavy breathing for about 5 to 7 minutes. His final words before the procedure were about leaving with light, love, and peace. He made the I love you sign with his left hand, which faced his family.
Critics are calling Smith's execution by nitrogen gas inhumane, but this is the method Smith had requested. Alabama's Attorney General called it textbook and now proven. He said Alabama's execution team stands ready to help other states that want to implement nitrogen gas executions. Talks between the White House and the Senate continue on Capitol Hill over security at the U.S.-Mexico border. But there are new concerns that former President Donald Trump and top Republicans are trying to kill a possible bipartisan deal before any of the details are laid out. Willie James Inman has more.
Bipartisan talks in the Senate over how to fix the nation's broken immigration system hit a speed bump.
We feel that it's been happening in a good faith nature, and these negotiations about policy changes, obviously, and also funding resources.
While no text has been released yet, former President Donald Trump, the likely Republican presidential nominee, has already come out against a potential deal. In a letter to House Republicans Friday, House Speaker Mike Johnson also blasted a potential plan, writing in part, "If rumors about the contents of the Senate draft proposal are true, it would have been dead on arrival in the House."
House Republicans, they have a choice to make, right? They have to choose whether they want to solve a problem or, get in the way.
Speaker Johnson says his chamber will move as soon as possible on whether to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over the Biden administration's handling of the U.S.-Mexico border.
It's not like we don't have a process at the border, and there is a challenge there, and the president does want to get more Border Patrol agents.
Texas has become a flashpoint in the crisis, particularly at Shelby Park and Eagle Pass. The state has refused to remove razor wire fencing and other barriers at the site to impede illegal immigration, despite a ruling this week from the Supreme Court. The Biden administration is demanding Border Patrol agents be given immediate access to the park to help process migrants. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
New at noon today, Governor Josh Green has ordered the lowering of the United States and Hawaii State's flag to half-staff in honor of the late Hawaii County Mayor Billy Kanoi. The flags will be at half-staff from sunrise to sunset on Saturday, January 27th. Kanoi died on Tuesday, January 26th, 2021 at the age of 52 after a long battle with cancer. The Kanoi family and loved ones will be celebrating his life on January 27th in Hilo. Governor Josh Green, in a statement, said Billy Kanoi is the embodiment of persistence, dedication, and aloha. And despite his health challenges, Green praised Kanoi for his commitment to his wife, his family, and his job as mayor. Take a look at these historic signs. They are still missing. The Lahaina Restoration Foundation says they weren't destroyed in the fires, but instead they were actually stolen. And now they're renewing their pleas to the public in search of the signs.
I mean, drive by and it's empty because the two posts are still there. You go, it feels bad. It feels like someone stabbed you again after already being stabbed by this fire.
Morrison says if someone comes forward, she'll take back the signs, no questions asked. If you have any information on the theft or want to support the foundation's efforts, you can find a link to do so on our website.
Here's a live look outside at downtown Honolulu. You can't tell from this picture, but a high wind warning is up for Big Island Summits, and Mauna Loa Summit is actually closed right now because of the winds. We're going to have your full forecast coming up after this quick break.
it's going to be a little windier starting tomorrow. Today, the winds will run a little slow. Let's take a look at the moisture forecast, and you can see there are those stray showers, just some lingering bits, scatterlings of that front that brought us rain earlier in the week, but it's going to be pretty sparse. Kauai getting some damp conditions this morning. And then looks like on Sunday afternoon, some prefrontal showers ahead of the front itself, likely to affect the west end of the state. Not a lot of rain, but it's going to be coming in by the afternoon on Sunday. And then Monday and Tuesday, the front will be lingering around, and we'll see more scattered showers. But again, doesn't look like the showers are going to be all that heavy, but it's going to be damp from Monday through Tuesday. And then Friday of next week, another front looks like it's knocking on our door. So your 7-day forecast shows light winds today, partly sunny to mostly sunny skies. There will be a few stray showers. It's going to be drier still through the weekend, but stronger winds coming in over the weekend. And then on Monday, the winds get even stronger as that cold front drops in. Again, it's going to be a little more damp with more scattered showers Monday and Tuesday before things dry out on Wednesday with the trade winds coming back.
2023 was one for the record books when it comes to climate, and not always in the best ways. For example, in the Northern Hemisphere, they recorded the hottest summer, and in the Southern Hemisphere, the warmest winter. Last year, the United States had 28 confirmed disaster events, each resulting in more than $1 billion in damages. From the devastating fires that ripped through Lahaina to Southern California seeing its first ever tropical storm watch, and smoke from Canadian wildfires turning the skies in New York City orange, these were just some of the big climate events that people witnessed throughout the world. Now, to break down all this data from 2023, we're joined by NASA's chief scientist and senior climate advisor, Kate Calvin. You know, Kate, NASA and NOAA just announced the latest global temperature data for last year. Where does 2023 rank in the climate record?
2023 was far and away the warmest year on record. Collectively, the last 10 years have been the warmest since modern record keeping began. 2023 was about 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit above the late 19th century average, but we're seeing more warming over land than over ocean, more in higher latitudes than lower latitudes. So almost anywhere you look in 2023, temperatures were above average. So we saw heat waves, we saw heavy precipitation events in some parts of the United States, we saw wildfires. So climate change drives increases in fire weather, so where it's hot, dry, and windy, as well as fuel for fire. And so we saw evidence of those fires throughout the United States and Canada this year.
You mentioned wildfires. That's something we also experience here in Hawaii. What does this data tell us about the region that we're living in?
Yeah, so we have a lot of information. So we use a lot of satellites to understand the Earth, and our satellites are global, so we can see all of the Earth. And we look at different things, and so we can understand things like hurricanes. One of the changes we're seeing with climate change is that we're seeing more intense hurricanes, so a higher proportion of our storms are categories 3 through 5. We're also seeing more heavy rainfall events associated with storms, and we are able to provide that information both to the public, but as well as to weather forecasters around the world.
And speaking of NASA, a lot of exciting things are planned for this year, and you're even preparing to launch a new satellite. Can you tell us a little bit more about this project?
Yeah, in just a few weeks, we'll launch a new satellite called PACE, or Plankton, Aerosol, Cloud, and Ocean Ecosystem. PACE is going to give us more information about the sea and the sky. So in the sea, we'll be able to look at the surface ocean and see the life in it. And so we can see things like information about fisheries, harmful algal blooms. It's also going to give us information about these tiny particles in the atmosphere that can either reflect or absorb sunlight, so they affect temperature. They also have impacts on air quality. And PACE will be joining a bigger fleet of Earth observing satellites that we have here at NASA.
You know, given what we've experienced in 2023, what does this say about future trends when it comes to climate?
So one of the things we do is try to understand what's driving current trends, and that gives us information about the future. And what we know is that a lot of the warming trend is driven by greenhouse gases. So in the future, how much warming we will experience depends on future emissions. As long as greenhouse gas levels in the atmosphere continue to increase, we'll continue to see more warming, and we'll see more impacts along with that. Some of the impacts we experience will become more frequent, some more intense, and some both.
Finally, for anyone who wants to learn more about this data and how it impacts where we live, where can viewers find that?
So you can get all of this information and more at nasa.gov/Earth or on social media at NASA Earth.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kate.
Thank you for having me.
That's right, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It is championship weekend.
That was a sick
NFL.
promo.
That was pretty good,
That was
right?
pretty
I put
good.
that together in a sec. That was good. Hey,
Davis cooked on that
I'm trying.
one.
I'm
He
trying.
cooked on that one.
NFL championship games are this weekend. We got Ravens Chiefs. We got 49ers Lions, as you can tell by the screens. Kyle, this is going down this weekend.
It's a pretty fun weekend. I mean, it's kind of sad, a little bit bittersweet that the NFL season is coming to a close, but we have some great matchups. We're going to start with the screen behind me, the AFC Championship between the Baltimore Ravens and the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Now, it's going to be a toss-up. You know, you have Lamar Jackson playing at an MVP level, and they have been kind of lights out all season, and the Chiefs, they're starting to play good football at the right time. Had a little bit of a lull in the regular season, and this would be such a feat and kind of put Patrick Mahomes into that top 5 QB category.
Switching over to behind me, the 49ers Lions. The Lions really are a Cinderella story. I don't think a lot of people expected them to get to this point. So it's really impressive by them, and a lot of people are unsure if they're going to win this game because the 49ers are a high-powered offense. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey. It is a crazy offense. This is going to be a crazy game. A lot of people pulling for the Lions, though.
I think if the Lions can catch them on the right day but the wrong day for the Niners, it could be the first time we see Honolulu Blue in the big game.
Ooh, yes, that's right. It's going to be pretty crazy. And the Chiefs-Ravens, I mean, who knows what's going to happen there? The Ravens are doing fantastic. I mean, maybe the Chiefs are going to shake it up a little bit.
Oh, my goodness.
With Taylor Swift on the Chiefs, I had to do it.
Hey, if she's in the stands, if she's in the skybox, that's good karma. We're on a roll.
It's Friday, everyone. It's Aloha Friday.
Come on.
Well, I hope you guys enjoy that recap. Stay tuned for the latest of Kyle's reports. We got a lot of stuff brewing up for the Super Bowl coming up. A lot of things in progress. Stay tuned for that. And make sure you follow the HNN Overtime podcast where we upload every single Friday.
Every Friday. New episode drops today. We'll have our AFC and NFC picks for the week. We'll also be posting on our Instagram. Follow the Instagram, folks. That's where we're going to get all the bonus clips, all the behind the scenes potentially. It's going to be all the fun there, but also listen to the full episode. Thanks for having me, Davis. Well, in today's good news now, a Canadian man is the latest culprit to be dubbed a dumb vandal after he had a run-in with a planter that left him covered with dirt. CNN's Jeannie Mose reports.
Seemingly plastered, this guy took it out on a planter, first kicking it, then trying to heave it into the glass window of an Ontario restaurant called The Counter. But the planter counterattacked. When the husband and wife owners of the restaurant saw the surveillance video,
what did you say? What an idiot.
He laid there covered in dirt while his buddy cracked up.
I laughed. I thought it was hilarious. I remember being young and being drunk. I mean, I never tried to throw a planter box out of business, but you've all been there.
A formal complaint was never filed. When the guy finally got up, he had to hold on to a pole. It could have been worse. At least he didn't get covered with manure like in Back to the Future. The dumb vandal joins the ranks of other blundering bad guys. Beaumont, Texas police call these armed robbers the Three Stooges for the way they came slipping and sliding into a Popeye's restaurant. And who could forget the bumbling burglars throwing bricks to break into a business in China? One guy brained the other with a brick, knocking him out cold. The planter fiasco had a happy ending. One of the guys came back and resurrected the planter. Restaurant co-owner Braden Lawther found it heartening.
Had a better morals about him.
The moral of the story, picking a fight with a planter is dumb as dirt. Jeannie Mose, CNN.
Dirt, got it all over me.
New York.
Oh my goodness, she always finds the funniest stories. I don't know how she does it, but that was hilarious.
It was.
I'm sorry to say. Thank you all so much. We're going to end today with a live look outside beautiful Honolulu. Have a wonderful weekend. Mahalo nui.
Happy Aloha Friday.